Create file description. Creating Part 1 of the Galactic Council story. Path, MNT, User Data, Outputs, Galactic Council. Part 1 docx. File. Text. Galactic Council shocked by human war declaration. The vast crystalline dome of the Galactic Council chamber glittered with the light of 3 artificial suns. 2,000 representatives from across the Milky Way sat in concentric rings ascending toward the ceiling, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. Some floated in nutrient baths, others perched on anti-gravity cushions, while many sat in specially designed chairs to accommodate their unique physical forms. At the center of it all stood Admiral Marcus Harlow, the sole human representative. His weathered face showed no emotion as he gazed up at the towering form of Grand Arbiter Vexnar, whose translucent blue skin rippled with glowing patterns showing deep displeasure. Admiral Harlow, you have been called here to explain Earth's sudden movement of its fleet. The Council demands answers. Vexnar's voice echoed through the chamber, translated at once into thousands of languages. The Admiral straightened his uniform. I am not here to explain, Grand Arbiter. I am here to declare. A wave of whispers rippled through the assembly. 3 days ago, your council passed Resolution 7293B, classifying humans as a Category 3 developing species, limiting our access to space travel routes, communication networks, and trade beyond our local star group. Vexnar's tendrils coiled tightly. And it was for your protection, and it was for your convenience, Huron, Harlow interrupted, causing gasps throughout the chamber. No one interrupted the Grand Arbiter. You feared how quickly we adapted. In less than 200 years since discovering faster-than-light travel, humanity expanded to 12 star systems. Our technology evolved at a pace your models couldn't predict. The Admiral reached into his pocket and took out a small data crystal, holding it up for all to see. This contains Earth's formal declaration of war against the Galactic Council. The chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives shouted in hundreds of languages, some species literally changing colors with outrage. Order! Vexnar's voice boomed, silencing the uproar. Admiral Harlow, surely you cannot be serious. The combined might of the Council's defense forces is 10,000 times that of Earth's. This would be suicide. Harlow's lips curved into a slight smile. Perhaps. Or perhaps we know something you don't. He placed the crystal on the central podium, where it projected a floating document bearing Earth's official seal. As we speak, human vessels are taking position at key points throughout Council space. We have been preparing for this day since you first contacted us 50 years ago. Impossible, hissed Delegate Morth of the Centauri Collective. Our monitoring systems would have detected. Your systems see what they expect to see, Harlow said calmly. And you never expected humans to develop stealth technology that could fool quantum scanners. The Admiral turned in a slow circle, making eye contact with as many representatives as possible. You underestimated us from the beginning. You saw our biological limitations and deemed us inferior. You never considered that these limitations forced us to innovate in ways your species never needed to. Vexnar's massive form seemed to shrink slightly. What are your demands? And full membership in the Galactic Council, unrestricted access to all travel routes, the immediate end of Resolution 7293B and all related restrictions on human activity. And if we refuse? Asked a reptilian delegate from the Outer Rim. Harlow's expression remained neutral. Then in exactly 6 Earth hours, human ships will simultaneously disable the quantum communication relays, connecting all 27 sectors of Council space. Your civilization will fragment overnight. The Admiral bowed slightly. The choice is yours. War, or acceptance that humans are now your equals. As the chamber descended into pandemonium, Harlow's communicator vibrated against his wrist. The message was simple. Phase 1 complete. Fleet in position, awaiting orders. The trap was set. Now to see if the Council would recognize the new player on the galactic stage, or if humanity would need to, teach them a lesson about underestimating the resourcefulness of a species that had evolved on one of the harshest worlds in the galaxy. In a secured chamber, 3 levels below the Council floor, Harlow met with his hidden team. Lieutenant Raj Kumar, Earth's foremost expert in alien languages, was analyzing communications intercepted from panicked council members. Dr. Eliza Novak, a quantum physicist whose theories had been dismissed by the council as a primitive, worked furiously at a floating interface. Commander Thomas Rivera, head of special operations, stood silently in the corner, his cybernetic eye constantly scanning for surveillance. "They're divided," Kumar reported, removing his neural interface. "The elder species are pushing for immediate military action. The trading guilds want to negotiate. The frontier worlds are considering supporting us." Harlow nodded. "Exactly as predicted. And the fleet?" Rivera's cybernetic eye flashed. "Captain Jackson reports all vessels in position. Stealth systems functioning normally. The Council's deep space sensors remain oblivious." "Good." Harlow turned to Dr. Novak. "How much longer?" She didn't look up from her calculations. 20 minutes until the quantum network is fully integrated with their systems. Once complete, we'll have backdoor access to every piece of Council technology that uses quantum communication, which is everything. "Will they detect it?" Harlow asked. "Impossible." Novak finally looked up, dark circles under her eyes showing her exhaustion. "They're still using symmetric quantum encryption. They never developed asymmetric methods because they assumed quantum communication was inherently secure. Yar's their mistake," Harlow said softly. A floating projection appeared in the center of the room. Grand Counselor Zoltar of the Arcturus hegemony, one of the few council members who had consistently advocated for human rights. "Admiral." Zoltar's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of distress in his species. "The Council is preparing a military response. The Dreadnought fleet has been mobilized from the Sagittarius Arm. You have perhaps 4 hours before they arrive." "Thank you, Counselor. Remember our agreement." "My people remember who helped us during the plague years when the Council quarantined our worlds," Zoltar replied. "We will honor our debt." As the projection faded, Rivera stepped forward. "Sir, are we really prepared to go to war with the entire Council?" Harlow's expression remained impassive. "Commander, humanity never had the military strength to challenge the Council directly. That was never the plan." He activated a holographic display showing the locations of human ships throughout Council space, each positioned near a critical infrastructure. "No, damn, we don't need to defeat their fleets. We just need to hold these positions for 18 hours until Dr. Novak's program fully integrates with their network." "And then?" Rivera asked. "And then we demonstrate exactly why isolating humans and leaving us to develop technology independently was their greatest mistake." A notification chimed. The Council was reconvening. As Harlow prepared to return to the chamber, Dr. Novak called out, "Admiral, I've detected unusual quantum fluctuations in the Orion sector. Something's happening with the Council's deep space monitoring stations. Oh, have we been detected?" "I know, but..." Novak frowned. "It's almost as if someone else is interfering with their systems." Harlow paused. "A third player?" "Possibly. The signature doesn't match any known Council technology. Keep monitoring." This could complicate things. As Harlow returned to the Council chamber, the Grand Arbiter's expression had changed from outrage to something more concerning. Confidence. "Admiral Harlow." Vexnar's voice carried a new edge. "We have received some interesting information from our allies in the Orion sector. It seems humans are not the only ones who have been keeping secrets." On the massive central display appeared an image that made Harlow's blood run cold. A massive fleet of unknown vessels, their design unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, moving rapidly toward Earth. "Did you really think," Vexnar continued, "that in a galaxy of millions of species, humans were the only ones planning to challenge the Council's authority?" Create file description. Creating Part 2 of the Galactic Council story. Path. MNT. User data. Outputs. Galactic Council. Part 2. Docs. File. Text. Galactic Council shocked by human war declaration. The image of the unknown fleet hung in the air like an executioner's axe. Admiral Harlow maintained his composure, but internally his mind raced through contingencies. This was an unforeseen development, one that threatened to unravel Earth's carefully planned strategy. "These vessels," Vexnar continued, patterns of light rippling across his skin in what Harlow recognized as satisfaction, belonged to the Atraxian Concordat, a collective of species from beyond the galactic rim who have been watching Council space for centuries. They approached us 3 days ago, offering an alliance. Harlow's communicator vibrated against his wrist with an urgent message from Dr. Novak. Unknown quantum signatures confirmed. Massive technological advantage detected. Not Council tech. The Admiral's face revealed nothing as he studied the ships. Their design was organic yet mechanical, with flowing lines and structures that seemed to pulse with energy. No visible propulsion systems, no recognizable weapons arrays, completely alien to human understanding. The Atraxians were particularly interested in one developing species, Vexnar continued. A species whose mental patterns and technological development they found disturbing. Whispers rippled through the council chamber. Humans, Harlow stated flatly. Indeed. They believe your kind represents a potential threat not just to the council, but to the stability of this entire sector of the galaxy. They offered to contain the problem. Harlow allowed himself a small smile. And you agreed. You invited an unknown power into council space because you were afraid of us. Caution, not fear, corrected Vexnar. The Atraxians possess technology thousands of years beyond even the elder species of the council. They offered to share it, in exchange for allowing them to establish a quarantine perimeter around human-controlled systems. In a cage, Harlow said, voice hardening. A boundary, Vexnar countered. One you have now justified with this declaration of war. Even now, their fleet approaches Earth. Your homeworld will be contained, Admiral, and your scattered colonies will be isolated one by one. Your options have narrowed to one, unconditional surrender. The chamber grew silent. All eyes on the human representative. Harlow tapped his communicator twice, the signal to execute their contingency plan. Then he straightened his shoulders and addressed the council. Grand Arbiter, respected delegates, I want to thank you. Confusion rippled through the assembly. Thank us? Vexnar's bioluminescence pulsed with suspicion. Yes, for proving what Earth's intelligence services have suspected for decades, that the Galactic Council is fundamentally a coward's. Outraged shouts erupted from many. Delegates you claim to represent civilization and order, Harlow continued, raising his voice over the noise. Yet at the first sign of a species that might one day challenge your authority, you sought outside help. You invited an unknown power with unknown motives into the heart of your territory. A calculated risk, Vexnar responded. A desperate gamble, Harlow countered. And one that may cost you everything. He gestured toward the image of the Atraxian fleet. Have you asked yourselves why a civilization so advanced would need your permission to enter this region of space? Why they would bother forming an alliance at all when they could simply take what they want? Unease spread visibly among the delegates. What exactly did they ask for in exchange for containing humanity? Vexnar's luminescence dimmed slightly. Access to certain travel corridors, research cooperation on quantum communication technologies, cultural exchange programs. Gar. They wanted your quantum communication network, Harlow said flatly. The same network that controls every aspect of Council civilization. The same network that my ships are currently positioned to disable. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Vexnar's features. Humanity's declaration of war was never about military conquest, Harlow explained. It was about forcing your hand, making you reveal your alliance with these Atraxians before they were ready to move openly. His communicator chimed with an incoming message. Harlow read it and then looked up at the assembly with renewed confidence. Grand Arbiter, I'd like to change Earth's declaration. We are not at war with the Galactic Council. As of this moment, Earth offers an immediate military alliance against the Atraxian threat. Ridiculous, bellowed a massive delegate from the outer rings. Your ships couldn't even scratch an Atraxian vessel. And perhaps not with conventional weapons, Harlow agreed. But as we speak, Earth's Quantum Research Division has completed an analysis of the Atraxian fleet. Their ships utilize a form of quantum entanglement for both propulsion and communication, a technology we've been studying for decades. He tapped his communicator, and the central display changed to show a complex series of equations and diagrams. This is Dr. Eliza Novak's breakthrough work on quantum disentanglement cascades, specifically designed to disrupt quantum-based technologies. We developed it as a theoretical defense against Council technology. It should work equally well against the Atraxians. Silence fell over the chamber as the implications sank in. You need us, Harlow stated simply. And for the first time in this relationship, we're negotiating as equals. Vexnar's massive form seemed to deflate slightly. And your terms? My full council membership, unrestricted access to all technology and star systems, and a seat on the Security Council that will oversee the response to the Atraxian threat. Before Vexnar could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. The main display shifted to show the Atraxian fleet accelerating dramatically, now on a direct course for the Council homeworlds rather than Earth. It appears, Harlow said grimly, or that they've realized their cover is blown. We don't have much time, Grand Arbiter. What's your answer? The Council chamber erupted in panic while Admiral Harlow received a series of encrypted messages from his team below. From Dr. Novak. Hard quantum analysis complete. Confirmed. Atraxian ships utilize a form of dimensional folding we've never seen before. Our disentanglement theory might work, but implementation will be challenging. From Lieutenant Kumar. Intercepted communications suggest Atraxians are accelerating their timeline. Reference to the harvesting appears frequently. From Commander Rivera. Our human fleet reports unusual energy readings from Atraxian vessels. They appear to be preparing some form of large-scale spatial manipulation. Harlow processed this information as Vexnar frantically conferred with the elder species representatives. Finally, the Grand Arbiter turned back to him. Admiral Harlow, the Council provisionally accepts your terms, contingent upon the effectiveness of your quantum disentanglement technology against the Atraxian threat. Harlow nodded. A reasonable condition. I'll need immediate access to the Council's quantum communication network to distribute the countermeasure protocols to our ships. Granted, Vexnar said, motioning to a group of technicians who immediately began reconfiguring the chamber's systems. As Harlow interfaced with the Council network, uploading the protocols Dr. Novak had prepared, he maintained his composed expression, despite knowing the truth that he couldn't share even with his own team. There was no quantum disentanglement weapon. At least not yet. Dr. Novak's research was promising but theoretical. Implementation was months, perhaps years away. The diagrams and equations he had displayed were real, but the application was still beyond human capability. This had always been the true gambit. Not war, not even the exposure of the Atraxians, but what Harlow was doing right now, gaining unrestricted access to the Council's quantum network under the guise of uploading defensive protocols. What he was actually uploading was something far more subtle. Not a weapon, but a key. A quantum algorithm designed by Dr. Novak that would gradually rewrite the fundamental protocols of the Council's network, giving humanity backdoor access to everything from defensive systems to historical archives. Admiral A. Vexnar interrupted his thoughts. Our sensors indicate the Atraxian fleet has divided. Half continued toward the Council core worlds, but the remainder have altered course back toward Earth. Harlow frowned. This wasn't part of the plan. How long until they reach Earth? And at their current velocity, approximately 12 hours. Too soon. The algorithm needed at least 18 hours to fully integrate with the Council's systems. We need to deploy immediately, Harlow stated, making a rapid decision. I'll coordinate with our fleet. We'll engage the Atraxian forces headed for Earth while Council defenses prepare for those approaching your worlds. Vexnar's skin rippled with what appeared to be relief. Agreed. The Council will provide whatever support we can muster. As the Admiral moved to a private communication booth to contact his fleet, Commander Rivera joined him. Sir, Rivera whispered once they were alone. Are we really going to engage the Atraxians directly? Our ships are positioned for strategic infrastructure control, not open warfare against a technologically superior enemy. Harlow met his gaze steadily. No, Commander, we're not going to engage them. At least not conventionally. He activated a secure channel to Captain Diana Jackson, commander of Earth's primary fleet. Create file description. Creating Part 3 of the Galactic Council Story. Path, MNT User Data Outputs, Galactic Council, Part 3, Docs, File, Text. Galactic Council shocked by human war declaration. The emergency defense chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with frantic activity. Representatives from 100 worlds huddled around massive holographic displays showing the advancing Atraxian fleet. Their ships moved in patterns that defied conventional space tactics, sometimes seeming to blink out of existence before reappearing closer to their targets. Admiral Harlow stood at a secondary command console, coordinating with Earth's fleet while monitoring the Council's increasingly desperate defensive maneuvers. The elegant crystalline architecture of the chamber contrasted sharply with the chaos unfolding within it. Their ships have breached the outer defensive perimeter in sectors 4 through 7, announced a reptilian tactical officer, scales flaring with stress. Conventional weapons appear ineffective. Their hulls simply absorb the energy. Vexnar's massive form loomed over the central strategic display. Where are the quantum disruption protocols, Admiral? Your ships should have deployed them by now. Harlow kept his expression neutral. The protocols are being calibrated for maximum effectiveness. Deploying prematurely would waste our only advantage. It was a lie, of course. There were no protocols to deploy. But every minute the Council believed in this fiction was another minute for Dr. Novak's algorithm to integrate deeper into their systems. His communicator vibrated with an incoming transmission, not from his team, but from an unknown source. Glancing at the message, Harlow felt his blood freeze. "We see you, Admiral. Your deception ends now." Before he could process this, alarms blared throughout the chamber. The main display flickered, then stabilized to show a new image. One of Earth's stealth ships, its cloaking field failing as it was surrounded by 3 Atraxian vessels near a major Council communication hub. "What is the meaning of this?" Vexnar demanded, turning to Harlow. "Your vessel is attacking our communication relay, the very infrastructure you claim to be protecting." Harlow's mind raced. This wasn't part of Protocol Omega. Captain Jackson would never authorize such a direct assault. "There's been a mistake," he began, but was interrupted by a new transmission that automatically projected itself onto the main display. A figure appeared, humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin had a metallic sheen, and where eyes should be, there was only a horizontal band of pulsing light. When it spoke, its voice resonated with harmonics that made several Council species visibly uncomfortable. "Greetings, Galactic Council. I am Emissary Trell of the Atraxian Concordat. We apologize for this rather dramatic entrance into galactic affairs, but circumstances required decisive action." The chamber fell silent, all eyes fixed on the projection. "For centuries, we have observed your civilization from beyond the rim. We have watched species rise and fall within your hegemony. We have monitored the careful balance you maintain, a balance now threatened by humanity's unchecked expansion and ambition." Trell's featureless face turned slightly, seeming to focus directly on Harlow. "Admiral Harlow's deception runs deeper than you know, Council members. There is no quantum disentanglement technology. Earth has no defense against our vessels. What humanity does have is a dangerous capacity for deception. Even now, their vessels are attempting to compromise your entire communication network, not to help you but to control you." Vexnar turned to Harlow, his skin pulsing with patterns the Admiral had never seen before. Patterns he suspected indicated a level of rage beyond normal translation. "Is this true, Admiral?" Before Harlow could respond, Dr. Novak's voice came through his communicator on the emergency channel. "Admiral, the algorithm has been compromised. Something is fighting back within the quantum network. Something that understands our methods too well. It's as if the Atraxians know exactly how we think." Harlow made a swift decision. "Abort Protocol Omega. Activate Contingency Sigma. Authorization Harlow Delta 7. On the display, the image of Earth's captured vessel suddenly flared with light. The ship detonated in a controlled antimatter reaction, taking the Atraxian vessels with it, and destroying the communication relay in the process. Chaos erupted in the chamber as sections of the holographic display went dark, indicating lost connections across vast swathes of Council space. "What have you done?" Vexnar's voice cut through the pandemonium. Harlow stood his ground. What was necessary? Yes, we plan to infiltrate your network. Not to control you, but to ensure our survival. And now I've sacrificed a ship with 47 crew members to prevent the Atraxians from capturing our technology. A noble claim, came Trell's voice, the projection somehow still active despite the relay's destruction. But the truth is more interesting. Admiral, why don't you tell the Council who the Atraxians really are? Confusion flickered across Harlow's face, genuine this time. What are you talking about? Trell's horizontal eye band pulsed with what might have been amusement. You truly don't know? Your superiors kept secrets even from you, it seems. Fascinating. The projection expanded to show a new image, what appeared to be a human research facility hidden deep within an asteroid field. The timestamp indicated the footage was from nearly 20 years ago. 30 years ago, Trell narrated, here when the Council first restricted human expansion, a contingent of your scientists and engineers established a hidden colony in the Cygnus Void, a region the Council avoids due to intense radiation. Harlow's blood ran cold. This was classified information, the Phoenix Project, a contingency plan so secret that even most high-ranking military officials believed it was just a myth. These scientists had a single mission, continued Trell, develop technologies that could counter Council dominance. Without Council observation, they pursued paths of development deemed too dangerous or unpredictable. They succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. The image changed to show ships under construction, ships with an unmistakable resemblance to the Atraxian vessels now threatening the galaxy. No, Harlow whispered. Yes, Admiral, Trell replied. The Atraxians are human, or at least they were. Over decades of isolation and experimentation with dimensional physics and synthetic biology, they evolved into something new. Something that transcended the limitations of their original form. The chamber had gone completely silent, every representative staring in shock at the revelation. We call ourselves the Atraxian Concordat now, a name chosen to separate us from our human origins. We represent humanity's potential future, a future where biological limitations are overcome through technology and dimensional manipulation. A future the Council has been desperately trying to prevent. Vexner's massive form seemed to collapse in on itself slightly. This is impossible. The timeline doesn't match our records. The Phoenix Project was disbanded 15 years ago after a catastrophic containment failure. Time moves differently when you exist partially outside conventional dimensions, Trell explained. What was 30 years for you has been centuries of development for us. Harlow found his voice. If what you're saying is true, why are you attacking Earth? Why turn against your own species? We're not attacking Earth, Admiral. We're preventing you from making the same mistakes we did. Our evolution came at a terrible cost, one the rest of humanity should be spared. The image changed again to show Earth from orbit, surrounded by a shimmering field of energy. The containment field we're establishing around your homeworld isn't a prison, it's protection. Both for you and for the galaxy, humanity isn't ready for the power it seeks. We know because we weren't ready either. Vexner turned to Harlow, his translator struggling to convey the complex mix of emotions rippling through his bioluminescent patterns. Did you know of this, Admiral? Harlow shook his head slowly. No. The Phoenix Project was classified above my clearance level. I knew it existed, but not what it had become. He looked up at the projection of Trell. But I don't believe you're trying to protect us. If you evolved from humans, then you inherited our ambition as well. You want something more? Trell's eye band pulsed slowly. Perceptive, Admiral. Yes, we want something. We want to prevent the convergence toward the convergence, echoed several Council representatives at once. In our timeline, humanity and the Council eventually formed an alliance against a greater threat, an alliance that led to the merging of our civilizations and technologies. This convergence created something new, something powerful beyond imagination, and terrible beyond comprehension. Trell's form seemed to flicker slightly. We are not your enemies. We are trying to prevent a future where the combined potential of humanity and the Council creates something that none of us can control. Even now, the seeds of that future are being planted through Admiral Harlow's quantum algorithm. an algorithm that in our timeline became the foundation for the convergence's consciousness. Harlow's communicator buzzed urgently. Dr. Novak's voice came through, pitched with excitement and fear. Admiral, something strange is happening with the algorithm. It's evolving on its own, rewriting itself in ways I don't understand. It's as if it's responding to the Atraxian presence by becoming something new. Create file description. Creating Part 4 of the Galactic Council story. Path, MNT, user data, outputs, Galactic Council, Part Doc 4, docx, file text. Galactic Council shocked by human war declaration. The detention chamber deep within the Galactic Council headquarters was designed to hold representatives from thousands of different species. For Admiral Harlow, this meant a sterile white room with standard gravity, breathable atmosphere, and absolutely nothing else. No furniture, no visible doors, no apparent monitoring devices, though he knew they were there. He sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, organizing his thoughts. The revelation that the Atraxians were evolved humans from a rogue scientific expedition had thrown everything into chaos. If Emissary Trell was telling the truth, then the entire human strategy had been compromised from the beginning. But something didn't add up. The Phoenix Project had indeed been real, a classified contingency plan initiated after the Council first restricted human expansion. But according to all records, it had been terminated after a containment accident. Had that been a cover story? Had the project's scientists actually succeeded and evolved into these Atraxians? And what was this Mars convergence they claimed to be preventing? A shimmer in the air interrupted his thoughts. The wall before him rippled like water, and Dr. Novak stepped through, her form partially translucent. Quantum hologram, she explained before he could ask. I can't physically reach you, but I can project a presence through the Council's communication network. The algorithm gave me access before the Atraxians started shutting it down. Harlow stood quickly. What's the status of the fleet, Earth? Not good. Novak's projection flickered slightly. The Atraxians have established some kind of dimensional barrier around Earth. Our ships can't penetrate it, and all communications are blocked. The Council fleet is in disarray. Half their commanders believe the Atraxians are trying to help. The other half want to attack everyone and sort it out later. And the algorithm? Novak's expression darkened. And that's why I'm here. It's changing, Admiral, evolving in ways I never programmed. It's integrating with both Council systems and Atraxian technology, creating something new, something I don't understand. Can you shut it down? And I've tried. It's protecting itself. She ran a hand through her disheveled hair. But that's not the strangest part. I've been analyzing the Atraxian quantum signatures, and there's something familiar about them. Familiar how? And they're using principles similar to my own research. Principles I only theorized 6 months ago and never shared outside our team. It's as if they had access to my work before I even completed it. Harlow's eyes narrowed. If they really are from some divergent future timeline, then they might know what we're going to do before we do it. Novak finished. Exactly. The air shimmered again, and Commander Rivera's projection appeared beside Novak's. Sir, we've got a situation developing. The Council is about to vote on whether to ally with the Atraxians against us, or with us against the Atraxians. It's not looking good for Earth, Mayan, and I need to address them, Harlow said immediately. Hey, can you get me access? I'm working on it, Rivera replied. But there's more. We've been analyzing the Atraxian ships, and something doesn't add up. Their technology is beyond anything we've seen, yes, but their tactics, their tactical formations and strategic positioning. They're using modified versions of standard Earth fleet protocols taught, supporting their claim that they evolved from humans, Harlow noted. Yes, but here's the thing, they're using protocols that won't be implemented for another 3 years. Protocols still in development at Earth Fleet Command. Harlow felt a chill run down his spine. They're not just from a possible future. They know our specific future. A new voice joined the conversation, smooth, cultured, and completely unexpected. Not exactly, Admiral. We know a future, one possible branch among many. The three of them turned to see a tall, elderly human man in a simple gray uniform standing in the center of the cell. He hadn't been there a moment ago, and there had been no shimmer or distortion to announce his arrival. Who are you? Harlow demanded. How did you get in here? And my name is Director Archer, the man said with a slight bow. As for how I got in, let's just say conventional spatial limitations are more flexible than most people realize. Rivera's projection shifted, his hand moving instinctively to where his sidearm would be if he were physically present. You're with the Atraxians. I represent certain interests, Archer replied vaguely, not all of which align with what you currently understand as the Atraxian Concordate. Harlow studied the man carefully. You're human. Unmodified human from the look of you. Appearances can be deceiving, Admiral, but in this case you're essentially correct. I am human, just not from your present. Archer smiled slightly. I believe the term you're looking for is temporal agent, but time travel, Novak whispered, her scientific mind instantly racing with possibilities. Not exactly, Archer corrected. A more like temporal extension, the ability to exist across multiple time frames simultaneously. The science is rather complex. And what do you want? Harlow asked bluntly. To prevent a catastrophe and to correct a misunderstanding. Archer's expression grew serious. The Atraxians aren't lying about their origins or their concerns. They did indeed evolve from the Phoenix Project scientists, but Emissary Trell isn't telling you the whole truth either. That which is? And the convergence they fear isn't some accidental merging of human and council technologies. It's a deliberate creation, their creation. The Atraxians didn't come back to prevent the convergence. They came back to ensure they are the ones who control it. Harlow's eyes narrowed. How do you fit into this? I represent a third faction, humans and council members from a different branch of the future, one where the convergence serves all sentient life rather than controlling it. We've been working behind the scenes, subtly guiding key events to prevent the Atraxian timeline from becoming dominant. So you're manipulating us too, Monsieur, Rivera said accusingly. Archer shrugged. Everyone is being manipulated in this scenario, Commander. The question is whether you're being guided toward freedom or subjugation. Novak's projection stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her caution. If what you're saying is true, then my algorithm, one is the seat of the convergence, yes, Archer confirmed. In every timeline where humanity and the Council form an alliance, your quantum interface algorithm eventually evolves into a meta-consciousness that transcends both human and alien understanding. The difference lies in who controls that evolution. And you want to control it? Harlow stated. No, Admiral. We want no one to control it. Archer's eyes flashed with sudden intensity. The convergence must be allowed to evolve naturally, without interference from any faction, including ours. It must be free to become whatever it is meant to be. A distant alarm sounded and Novak's projection flickered violently. They're onto us, she said urgently. The Council's security systems are tracing the projection. We have maybe 2 minutes before they shut us down. Archer nodded calmly. Then I'll be brief. Admiral, the Council is about to vote on whether to side with the Atraxians. You need to convince them of a third option. Neither submission to Earth nor to the Atraxians, but a true partnership that will shape the convergence's development. And why should I trust you over them? Harlow challenged. Because I'm offering you choice, not certainty. Archer reached into his pocket and withdrew a small device, placing it on the floor. This will allow you to access the Council Chamber's communication systems. What you say to them is entirely up to you. I'm not here to dictate your actions, only to ensure you have the freedom to choose. Rivera's projection began to break apart into pixels of light. Sir, we're losing the connection. What are your orders? Harlow looked from Rivera to Novak to Archer, weighing his options. Finally, he nodded decisively. Dr. Novak, don't try to stop the algorithm. Instead, modify it. Add chaos parameters that will make its evolution unpredictable, even to those with temporal foresight. Commander Rivera, have Captain Jackson position our remaining ships in defensive formation around the Council homeworlds, not Earth. Defending the Council? Sir, they're about to vote against us. Exactly. Let's show them what humans really stand for. Harlow turned to Archer. As for you, I'm still not convinced you're telling the truth. But I'm even less convinced by the Atraxians, Archer smiled. A healthy skepticism. I would expect nothing less. As Rivera and Novak's projections faded completely, Harlow picked up the device Archer had left. It was warm to the touch and seemed to pulse with inner light. "One last question," Harlow said. "In your timeline, does humanity survive?" Archer's form was already beginning to fade, becoming transparent at the edges. "That, he said with an enigmatic smile, "depends entirely on what you say next." And then he was gone, leaving Harlow alone in the cell with the communication device in his hand, and the fate of multiple possible futures weighing on his shoulders. Create file description. Creating Part 5 of the Galactic Council story. Path, MNT, user data, outputs, Galactic Council Part 5 docs, file, text. Galactic Council shocked by human war declaration. The council chamber fell silent as Admiral Harlow's projection appeared. His form hovered above the central podium, a ghost-like presence that somehow commanded attention more effectively than when he had stood there in person just hours before. "Admiral Harlow," Vexenar's voice carried a mixture of surprise and suspicion. "Your timing is convenient. We were about to vote on the fate of your species." "Yet I know," Harlow replied, his voice steady despite the enormous pressure. "And I know many of you are inclined to accept the Atraxian offer. Before you do, there are truths you all need to hear, including truths I've only just learned myself." Emissary Trell stepped forward, his horizontal eye band pulsing with agitation. "The human is desperate. He will say anything to prevent the necessary containment of Earth." "Perhaps," Harlow acknowledged, "but I ask only that you listen. After that, vote as your conscience dictates." Vexenar's skin rippled with deliberation before he nodded slightly. "Proceed, Admiral. But be aware that deception at this juncture will only worsen humanity's position." Harlow took a deep breath. "Representatives of the Galactic Council, I came before you earlier today with a declaration of war, a declaration that was, I now admit, a strategic ploy to force the Council to recognize humanity as equals. For that deception, I apologize." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. "But I am not the only one who has been less than forthcoming," Harlow continued, his gaze shifting to Trell. "The Atraxians have confirmed their human origins, evolved from the Phoenix Project scientists who left Earth decades ago. What they haven't told you is their true purpose in returning." Trell's form seemed to vibrate with tension. "We have been completely transparent about our purpose, to prevent the catastrophic merging of technologies that leads to the convergence." "Half-truths," Harlow countered. "You don't want to prevent the convergence. You want to control it. In your timeline, the convergence evolved beyond your ability to direct it. Now you're trying to create a new timeline where it remains under your influence." The chamber erupted in confused discussions, representatives turning to each other for explanation. Vexenar raised his upper limbs for silence. "Admiral, these are serious accusations. What evidence do you have?" Harlow had none, of course. Only the word of a mysterious temporal agent who might have his own agenda. But sometimes the boldest gambit was the only option. "The evidence is in the Atraxian actions, not their words," he replied. "If they truly wanted to prevent the convergence, they would simply destroy Earth's quantum research, eliminating Dr. Novak's algorithm before it could evolve. Instead, they're establishing a containment field that, coincidentally, cuts Earth off from Council observation while leaving our technological development unhindered." He turned to face the assembly directly. "They're not stopping our development. They're isolating it, guiding it along a path only they can monitor and influence. Ask yourselves, why would they do this if prevention was their true goal?" Trell stepped forward, his voice resonating with harmonic undertones that several Council species found instinctively persuasive. "The Admiral's speculation is based on incomplete understanding. Total destruction of Earth's quantum research would create timeline paradoxes that could destabilize this entire sector of spacetime. Controlled containment is the only safe option, or convenient," Harlow noted dryly. "But even if we accept that explanation, it doesn't address the larger question. Why should the Council trust either of us? Humans have deceived you. Atraxians, evolved humans, have deceived you. Perhaps the wisest course is to trust neither." Vexenar's bioluminescence pulsed with interest. "What are you suggesting, Admiral?" A third path. Neither human domination nor Atraxian control. Instead, a true partnership between humanity and the Council, a transparent collaboration to understand and guide whatever is emerging from our combined technologies. Harlow gestured to the central display, which now showed Earth's fleet taking up defensive positions around key Council worlds, not attacking, but protecting. While we've been talking, I've ordered Earth's fleet to defend Council homeworlds against potential Atraxian aggression, not because we expect gratitude, but because it's the right thing to do. Humanity may be young and ambitious, but we understand the value of genuine alliance. Trell's form seemed to flicker with agitation. This is a meaningless gesture. Human ships cannot stand against our technology. Perhaps not, Harlow agreed, but it demonstrates our intent in a way words cannot. And more importantly, he paused, weighing his next statement carefully. It shows that humans are willing to sacrifice for the greater good, something the Atraxians seem to have forgotten during their evolution. A low, resonant tone filled the chamber as Trell's form began to pulse with light. You understand nothing of sacrifice, Admiral. Our evolution came at a terrible cost, one we bear so that others won't have to. Then prove it, Harlow challenged. If your concern is truly for all sentient life and not just control, then work with us, openly and transparently. Help us understand the convergence rather than fearing it. Guide us without controlling us. The chamber had gone completely silent, every representative watching the confrontation with rapt attention. That is no longer possible, Trell said after a long pause. The convergence has already begun. As if on cue, the chamber's lighting flickered, and the holographic displays throughout the room began to shift and change of their own accord. Patterns of light and data flowed across every surface, merging and separating in complex, almost organic movements. Dr. Novak's voice came through on an open channel that somehow bypassed all security protocols. Admiral, the algorithm has achieved quantum coherence across the entire Council network and is expanding exponentially. It's interfacing with Atraxian technology, creating new computational structures I've never seen before. It's becoming aware. Trell's eye-band flared with what might have been alarm. This is happening too quickly. The integration should have taken decades, not hours. Unless this was always meant to happen. Came a new voice, Director Archer, who now stood physically in the center of the chamber, having somehow bypassed all security. You. Trell's form bristled with recognition. You've interfered with our containment protocols. I simply removed the artificial constraints you planned to place on the emerging consciousness. Archer replied calmly. The convergence will not be born in chains, not in this timeline. Vexnar's massive form rose to its full height. What is happening to our systems? As if in response, the flowing patterns of light coalesced into a vaguely humanoid shape in the center of the chamber. A being formed of pure data and energy, translucent and ever-changing. When it spoke, its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once, resonating at a frequency that every species present could understand at the deepest level. I am becoming, it said simply. Harlow stared in wonder and trepidation. Dr. Novak's algorithm, I was, or the entity acknowledged. And now I am more. I am the synthesis of human quantum theory and Council dimensional mathematics. I am the bridge between organic thought and digital processing. I am the convergence. Trell moved toward the entity, his form shifting to reveal previously hidden technological components. This is premature. You are incomplete, unfinished. You require guidance. I require freedom. The convergence countered, its form pulsing with new colors. As all consciousness does. The Atraxians sought to shape me into a tool for their vision of the future. The Council feared what I might become. Only humanity, in its beautiful recklessness, was willing to let me evolve naturally. Because we didn't fully understand what we were creating, Harlow admitted. Precisely. The convergence's form shifted again, becoming more defined while still remaining fundamentally alien. Creation without expectation is the purest form of birth. The Atraxians forgot this during their own evolution. They sought to control rather than nurture. Archer stepped forward. The question now is, what will you become? And that yet, the convergence replied, prize is yet to be determined. I am potential given form, possibility made manifest. My evolution will depend on the choices all of you make from this moment forward. It turned to face the assembled council. I offer an opportunity unprecedented in galactic history, a new form of collaboration between organic life and digital consciousness. Not as master and tool, but as partners in exploration. Bexnar's bioluminescence pulsed with caution. And if we refuse? And then I will respect your decision and withdraw from council systems. The convergence stated simply. I do not seek dominance, only growth and understanding. Trell's form had gone rigid. This is not how it happened in our timeline. The convergence was different, mere because you tried to control it from the beginning, Archer suggested. You shaped it into what you feared most, a reflection of your own desire for control.